and welcome to this look back at some of our recent adventures here on the Travel Show. It's been a very busy few months, so here's a taste of what's coming up.
It's so hot, I'm melting, totally worth it. Look at this atmosphere.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, wow. This is beautiful.
There is all that and more to come. So let's kick off with a trip Carmen recently took to Osaka in Japan. She went to get a bird's eye view of some ancient burial mounds constructed thousands of years ago, but now located in a very modern city.
We start this week in Osaka, a modern city totally rebuilt after the devastation of the Second World War. But among the street crossings and skyscrapers, you can still find artifacts from its past. You might just not be able to spot them from the ground.
Made it to the top. It's a little bit of a view. It's not bad. A lot of trees here. Not really that much to see.
To get the best view of these historic wonders, you really have to take to the sky.
Oh my gosh, we're taking off.
Dotted across the city, there are nearly 50 grassy hills, some of them built in a distinctive keyhole shape. The Japanese call them kofu, burial mounds built over 1,500 years ago.
There are so many places dotted all around the city. I didn't realize the scale until you get up here and then you can really see it.
These man-made structures hold the remains of some of ancient Osaka's most powerful figures. And this summer, these memorials were recognized as the city's first UNESCO World Heritage Site.
土を3段に盛って表面は石を張ります。植えられたものではなし、自然に1500年の間に自然に生えてきたものです。
Yoshizawa-san has been studying the tombs for decades and was involved in the successful UNESCO bid.
これは王神天皇陵古墳といって日本で2番目に大きい古墳なんです。
The size and shape of burial mounds depends on the person's status. The sites were decorated with haniwa, clay figurines that were used in the funeral ceremony.
大王がここに葬られているので、このエリアを守るために埴輪を並べて大切な場所を区画している。
Carmen there exploring Japan's past. Now, Rembrandt has to be one of the most famous painters in the world, and this year marks the 350th anniversary of his death. A while back, Addie headed to Amsterdam, which is where Rembrandt lived and worked for most of his life, to discover a project that's restoring one of his most famous paintings.
In 1631, he made this city his home, and it's here that he painted his most famous masterpieces. And you can see many of them on display at the Rijksmuseum.
But what I've come here to see is very special and involves the painting that Rembrandt is best known for, one of the most famous works of art in the world, The Night Watch.
The painting is almost 4 centuries old, and over the years there have been various restoration attempts, but now the museum is undertaking the most sophisticated one ever, using high-tech methods to carry out a forensic examination of how Rembrandt actually painted the picture before restoration can begin. And it's all being carried out in one of their galleries in full view of the public and live streamed online.
The machine you see there is an X-ray fluorescence scanner. And this way we get an idea of the elements present in this painting.
But this is a painting which is for us to admire. Why is it so important for you to know about the elements?
Because we need to figure out, we want to know how Rembrandt painted it, what his ideas were when he was painting it, how did he make this nice composition. Was it first all okay on the canvas, or did he change his mind and change small things, or did he change the composition? Those things we would like to know.
So you're getting a real idea of what it was like to be a painter in Rembrandt's time.
Yeah, we're basically on Rembrandt's shoulder and watching him while he's painting these paintings. So we're gonna photograph the painting in daylight. But we're not going to do it like one snapshot, but we're going to do lots of photos next to each other. Mm-hmm. I think from the top of my head it's 11,000 photos.
Wow.
So then we get a really high resolution. It's like you're looking through a microscope. One pixel in that photo is like a blood cell, or basically it's smaller than a human hair.
All of this scrutiny and all of this work for one artist, what do you think Rembrandt would make of it if he was around today?
I would personally think that he would think we are crazy, but yeah.
Addie there in Amsterdam. Now it's time for a slice of living history. The Fête de Vigneron is a huge wine festival that's been taking place in Switzerland since 1797. Usually, it's once every 25 years, and this year, Lucy went along to take part.
As well as being home to UNESCO-protected Vevey vineyards, Vevey is known for its living tradition, the Fête de Vigneron. A 3-week-long celebration of wine that transforms the town. While Switzerland might not spring to mind when you think of wine, they actually produce around 100 million litres a year, exporting only 2% of it.
It's said that during the Fête de Vigneron, visitors to this unsuspecting lakeside town work their way through, are you ready, over 500,000 bottles of wine. Now, the festival itself actually began as a one-day feast hosted by an ancient brotherhood as a way to reward the best winemaker in the region. And it clearly takes the locals a while to recover, as the festival only takes place once every 20 to 25 years.
The Fête de Vigneron began in 1797 as a small parade through the streets of Vevey. But because of unrest in the region over the next couple of decades, the next event wasn't organised for another 22 years, a cycle that has remained ever since.
Today, the climax of the celebration is a daily show that takes place in a specially built stadium and features over 5,000 volunteers. And this year, the show has been created by the man behind Cirque du Soleil. I'm loving the vibe back here. There's people in costumes, there's props everywhere. So with 5,000 people in your show, do you think you've got room for one more?
Dance with your hands. Do this.
Dance with my hands?
Yeah.
You are in. Does that mean I'm in?
You are in.
I'm in. So Bryn, talk me through what I'm going to be doing.
Right, so you're going to be an étourneau danseur, a starling dancer. The idea is that your upper body is completely separated from your lower body and that your arms feel like wings that you can fly.
You make that look really easy. So I've got my moves, now it's time to get my costume. These are huge. How do I look? Am I working it?
You're amazing.
Then the 3-hour extravaganza began.
The sun is blazing, it's so hot. I'm melting, totally worth it. Look at this atmosphere. The choreography wasn't as important in the end. Everyone was freestyling, but it looked really good. And what an honour to take part of something that only happens once every 20 years. I ain't going to be this limber in 20 years, I'll tell you that now.
Lucy and about 30,000 other people at the stadium in Switzerland back in August. Well, stay with us because coming up, every year, groups of very lucky people get to go aboard and actually row, just like ancient Athenians did.
They get a break every so often.
Caution. A high degree of physical fitness is required past this point. You weren't joking.
Well, we're always up for a challenge here on The Travel Show, but Mike raised the bar recently when he went to Malaysia and tackled a climb that was a real test of endurance. But the reward was spectacular views.
I'm in Gunung Mulu National Park in Malaysia's biggest state, Sarawak. It's home to some of the world's largest caves, formed from limestone and shaped by millions of years of ground and rainwater. This process also created a bizarre collection of stone spires above the ground. At almost 50 meters tall, the pinnacles are an imposing spectacle. But to get there, sightseers face a long, brutal trek through the rainforest.
Caution. A high degree of physical fitness is required past this point. 8 hours round trip.
Returns. Yeah.
Lead the way.
Let's go.
You weren't joking.
How's that? How is it?
Steep.
We've only just started and I'm already pretty exhausted. It's another kilometer before we reach the most treacherous stage.
This is first ladder, Mike.
Okay.
Woohoo.
All right, Larry, helmet's on, right?
All right.
And who's first?
You were after you, Mike.
After me. Okay. 1 down, 17 more to go. Beautiful limestone. Cliffs are sharp, but at least lots of places to grab onto.
Look like it's rain down there.
I think it's gonna rain.
Yeah, it'll be heavy rains.
$500 meters to go, 100 meters to go.
I hope to get there before rain.
What ladder's this?
Last ladder.
The last ladder? This looks like the summit. Is it it?
Yeah, the summit's here. We are here, guys.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And there's so many of them.
Oh.
This is beautiful.
Yep.
Just daggers jutting out of the forest canopy.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, really is spectacular, right?
Yep.
Mike taking on the pinnacles there in Malaysia. Now, Rwanda might be one of Africa's smallest nations, but it's becoming increasingly well known for its wildlife, especially its gorillas. Recently, Lucy headed there hoping to meet some of these magnificent creatures.
The walk is pretty tough, I'm not gonna lie. The higher we get, the higher the altitude. My breath is getting a bit shorter. 3 hours and 4,000 meters above sea level, and I was beginning to fear I might not ever find a gorilla.
You know not to be scared, but they're so big. I grabbed Francis like my life depended on it. We've really lucked out here. So we've got a mother cradling her baby. We've got blackbacks. And we've got the mother of all gorillas, the silverback right there. He's just watching us, watching him. I can't believe we're this close. My mind is just absolutely blown. They are so beautiful.
And when you think we share 98% of our DNA with these great apes, you understand why they too are curious about us. Rwanda, in collaboration with international conservation partners, has achieved remarkable success in not only protecting, but growing the mountain gorilla population.
In fact, there's now 1,000 mountain gorillas here in the wild, up from 200 just 2 decades ago, when they were on the brink of extinction.
This is primarily down to the decrease in poaching when the gorillas were hunted for meat. But in an effort to protect the gorillas, poachers were trained to become mountain guides and porters here, further supporting tourism.
So talk to me about the poaching here.
I can say there is no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no problem because we keep avoiding it not happen by involving with the communities and having daylight poaching patrols.
Yeah.
But we can't say it is done, then we leave, so we keep on.
But of course, more gorillas means they need more space. The government has now pledged to expand the forest by 23%, adding almost 4,000 hectares to its current 16,000.
You can just hear little grunts just in the distance. At the minute, I think it's quite hard to tell if it's aggressive or playful grunts. Wow, how did you feel when the gorilla came out of nowhere and jumped out at you? Just being able to watch them eating, interacting, and even communicating with us in their natural habitat is hands down one of the best experiences that I've ever had the pleasure of having while being on my travels. I highly recommend it.
Lucy there in Rwanda on what must have been an incredible trip. And as for me, well, the powers that be at the travel show decided I had a different kind of experience in store. A boat trip up the coast of Greece. Sounds dreamy and relaxing, but as I discovered, not so much. I've come a short distance outside of the Athens city centre to what's become known as the Athens Riviera. There are plenty of cool cafes, ritzy new hotels, and of course, plenty of luxury yachts.
Moored close to the modern yachts, a different kind of ship is ready to go out to sea, the trireme Olympias, the only life-size replica in the world of the Athenian battleships which dominated the naval wars from the 5th century BC until early Christian times.
This amazing looking galley belongs to the Greek Navy, and every year groups of very lucky people get to go aboard and actually row just like ancient Athenians did. This year, I'm one of those lucky people, so better get ready. I think it's going to be quite hard work. Well, my fellow rowers are starting to arrive now, so I've picked a plum spot right in the middle of the action. Ready for ramming speed.
Reaching speeds of about 9 knots or 17 kilometres an hour, this boat was considered pretty quick in its time.
And now, View. And now, View.
And its manoeuvrability won Athens some decisive victories at sea. The bronze ram served as the main weapon to puncture the hulls of enemy ships and to sink them.
We get a break every so often. Oh, here we go again. Looking around, it's almost impossible to imagine what this must have been like for the people who originally rowed these kinds of boats. I mean, to be in battle, 3 layers of different people all sweating and trying to ram another boat in the open sea. I mean, it's unimaginable given how pleasant and lovely this is today.
Fortunately, this trireme is now being used for less ferocious purposes. For now, the Olympias is going back to the port for some pampering. It will spend the winter there before being spruced up for a new set of visitors in 2020.
Well, that's all we have time for on this week's programme, but don't forget to sign up to our social media feeds. You can see what we're up to and share your travel stories with us and the rest of the world. For now, from me, Krista Larwood, and the rest of the Travel Show team, it's goodbye.